let's start with your journey into the industry and how you sort of formed Compton as what it is known as today.
Fine. So I took a slightly different route to you, and probably no doubt a number of people watching this as well. So I actually left school at 16. I was kind of kicked out at 16. And kind of went straight to work. I never knew I wanted to do real estate, but I always knew I wanted to work. I was kind of the kid in the playground at school, buying and selling mobile phones and kind of nicking a living or trying to make some money.
Yeah.
But really, I kind of got help into the industry. My stepfather knew someone in stockbroking at the time. I did a day's work experience in stockbroking, hated it. My dad at the time had a mate in commercial property, had a space for a junior, went to do a day's work experience there, absolutely fell in love with it. So just for a background, I've always done property agency. So obviously your audience and people you're going to end up interviewing all from different walks of life.
Yes.
I am an out and out agent, broker, middleman, whatever you want to call it. I've done that. This is now my 26th year. So I've been doing that since the very, very beginning. So in terms of my journey, I started at a small niche practice, not having always on the agency side, but not a specialism. A couple of years into that, I was a bit of a jack of all trades, master of nothing. I made a move to another business who specialised in commercial office space, and that's kind of where I guess I learned my proper craft, if you like. And after a couple of years there, I got another opportunity to work for another small niche business in the city fringe, which is where we are now.
Yes.
Where I worked for 5 years, and then into that 5-year journey, listen, when you do property agency, and this is probably relevant for, again, a number of people watching this, but if you end up in a niche practice where you don't have ownership of the business, unless you're rewarded correctly or you're on a journey to get equity within that business, you might as well go and do it yourself. And back in 2010, that opportunity effectively presented itself. So myself and two of my friends who were also colleagues at the time, in the middle of the global financial crisis, terrible time, we decided it would be a great idea to go and set up a new property agency.
Yeah, definitely.
So we set up Atre Real Estate, which was my first business. And the idea of Atre Real Estate was to do things differently. And I think one of the best bits of advice I'll give to anyone watching this, regardless of where you're coming into the industry, no matter what you're doing, whether you're working for someone or running your own business, you always have to have some form of USP. You've got to do something a bit differently to stand out.
Definitely.
And the USP at Atre Real Estate was we basically looked at the commercial property agency world in central London. No offence intended, but it was kind of filled with middle-aged white men in pinstripe suits and red ties. They'd all go down to Davies Wine Bar on a Thursday night, 4 bottles of red wine, and it was like the secret club that they were part of and no one else was. And we were just like, this just doesn't work anymore. The world's changing. We've got apps like, there's obviously loads of social media and the prevalence of kind of on-demand apps like Uber and Deliveroo. All these things were coming. We just felt that there was a kind of gap in the market to do something different. So CBRE they're obviously the biggest property services business in the world, right? And they had a building in Farringdon. It was a 50,000 square foot building. They were marketing on behalf of the client. And their marketing was a set of A4, it was a piece of A4 paper, black and white, one photo. And we just looked at it and be like, you can do this better. So we were just like, Joe, what? We want to just shake things up. So I know it's all been done in the same way for God knows how many years. We're going to come in and put a whole fresh perspective on it. So every building was professionally photographed. And I know we're in 2025 now, it sounds really basic, but at the time it wasn't. So every set of details was colour. Everything was professionally photographed. We were the first agency, I think, in the UK to actually do motion pictures. So we were standing outside buildings, recording. So the reason, I've just been wax lyrically about what he's doing, by the way, but the reason I find it's quite, for me, it's quite triggering in a really positive way, because what you're doing now, I think, is really unique.
Thank you.
For your industry, or for the industry. And it's quite similar to what we were doing in 2010. So in 2010, standing outside buildings, cameraman in front of us, putting these kind of videos together, no one was doing it. So You had kind of CBRE doing black and white details with one photo. You had Hatton Real Estate, 10 photos, video content. And then on top of that, we were using at the time, Facebook, Twitter, as it was named at the time, and YouTube to promote our real estate.
Okay.
So that was our USP. We were kind of attacking the market in a really, really different way compared to all the competitors. So that was our USP. It coincided with David Cameron Prime Minister at the time, standing in the middle of Old Street roundabout, which is just down the road, saying we're going to turn Old Street and the City Fringe into the equivalent of Silicon Valley, and our lives just completely changed.
Yeah, definitely.
All this investment came in, and we were just kind of there. We were like the young guys who understood this market more than anyone, in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So 5 years into that business, we got bought. We had a lot of interest the entire journey through. And we ended up getting bought by Colliers International. It was a big global business, 17,000 people globally, and we were going to run their City Fringe office. And it was a magical moment. Like, we kind of set this business up in the financial crisis 5 years prior.
Yeah.
We did it on a shoestring. We had no money. We took debt, and then 5 years later, we got one of the biggest global real estate businesses in the world, offering to pay us loads of money and kind of own our business.
Was it quite hard to sort of grow, because obviously post the financial crisis, was there much liquidity in the market?
It's a really good question. So everyone always says, what's interesting is Hatton Real Estate I set up in the global financial crisis. Compton, which we'll come on to, I set up in the pandemic. So I set up both my businesses in chaos. Utter chaos. Now, on one hand, what a terrible idea. Like, setting up a business when the world is falling apart. But on the flip side, and this is the way I've always kind of looked at it, bad times create opportunity. So in a good market, if we go back to what I do for a living, I buy and rent office space for a living. I do a bit more than that, but in its simplest form, that's what I do.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Now, in a good market, when things are flying and the economy's great, even the worst agent can do deals.
Yeah.
Okay. But in a bad market,
only the best ones can.
Only the best ones can.
Yeah.
So when we set up our two businesses, we did them not on purpose. It was more by luck than judgment. But we kind of set these businesses up in times of distress, and in times of distress, people are struggling to sell buildings, rent buildings. Yeah. So for a new business, it kind of presented opportunity that perhaps wouldn't have been available to us had the market been really positive. So. So anyway, we sold to Colliers. I'm going to get through this because we've got lots of interesting things to talk about. So we got through, we did Hatton, which was 5 years, sold to Colliers. We worked for Colliers for 5 years. I wanted to stay there. I was actually really enjoying my time there. It was a big business. I was really young. I was a senior member in a big business with a huge amount of responsibility. And
how old were you at this time?
So I set up my first business at 27, sold it at 32.
Okay.
So I started working at Colliers around my 33rd birthday.
Right.
And then we stayed at Colliers for 5 years. The pandemic hit. We could have stayed, but not on the terms we wanted to.
Yeah.
So we were just like, time to go again.
Yeah.
And that's where Compton was formed.
Did you make Hatton and Compton with the same group?
Same group.
Okay.
There's lots of people who are on the Hatton journey still in the Colliers journey. Right. I had two partners in Hatton. One now lives in the States, but he was replaced with someone who was a partner of that business anyway. So the core team have been together for a very, very long time. And everyone asks me, what's the difference between Compton and Hatton? Now, principally they're the same. The best way to describe them is a bit like an iPhone. So Hatton was the iPhone 10.
Right.
Compton is the iPhone 16. Principally, they do the same things. They are trying to disrupt, they're trying to do things differently, but fundamentally, they still make calls, send text messages, and go on the internet. Compton it's a bit faster, it's got bigger battery life, it's a bit slicker, it looks better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same, just modern and I guess scaled up, really.
Okay, so with Hatton, you said your USP was you were on social media, professional photos. What's Compton's?
So USP? Compton, we've kind of raised the bar again because listen, part of the problem, and this will go for your personal brand and your business brand. Whenever you do something really, really well, people are going to start copying it.
Yes.
Right. So, and it used to really annoy me. Like, it used to make me,
It's
it didn't just
very,
annoy me, it made me really upset.
yeah.
So one of my favourite stories to kind of give you an understanding of who I am, what we're about, and answering that question. When we were Compton Real Estate, we had a number of different people try to buy us, and I'm not going to name them, but people will know who they are. But two of the businesses that tried to buy us, we turned them down. So as I said, let me just take one step back really quickly. When we sold Hatton, we sold it after 5 years. At the 3-year mark, we had 5 offers to sell. We turned them all down.
Okay.
2 of the people that offered, we were in negotiations with them. They saw under the bonnet. We showed them what we were all about. We obviously turned them down, and they decided, okay, well, if they're going to sell to us, we're going to go into competition with them. Right. So these 2 very global businesses, they set up offices round here.
Okay.
They copied our vibe in terms of how we were going about our marketing endeavors, social media, all those things.
Yeah.
They went to employ more kind of people like us, kind of younger, hungrier agents, and they came for us. They literally, for 2 years, it was an assault on our business. They went after all of our clients. They went after everything.
Really?
And it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it was like battle lines drawn.
Yeah,
we are ready for it. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is people kept coming for us. And on one hand, it used to annoy me and used to upset me. But on the other hand, it made me raise my game.
Yeah.
So what we now do at Compton, to answer your question, is we have to continuously raise our game. It's not like, oh, we started the business 4 years ago, that's our level, that's where we're going to sit.
Yeah.
This is a monthly, quarterly assault on trying to keep raising the bar, because if we keep raising the bar, the competition can't get close to us. But so in terms of how we raise the bar, we now have things like Compton TV. The level or the quality of video content is much better. We produce more of it. The way we attack social media is much kind of deeper and more meaningful than what we used to do previously. But we've also changed our narrative. So when we had Hatton, the industry was quite old-fashioned. The world was quite still old-fashioned. It was all about property people talking to property people. What we've recognised as Compton is it's all about the consumer. So we now have changed our whole direction. So we used to market to the property industry. We now market to the people we're going to eventually do business with, which is someone looking to buy a building, sell a building, rent space. So that slight difference.
So back when I was looking into doing real estate as a degree, a big goal of mine is to take the entrepreneurial side, sort of like you did. I was told commercial is a tough game, because you've got all these competitors, loads of capital behind them, bigger companies, brand loyalty. What are some of the challenges that sort of made you keep going? And
it's a great question. So listen, every industry is competitive. Like if you want to be the best, and I really want to be the best at what I do, but if you want to be the best in anything, it's mad competitive, right? So if you want to go and get a job on the capital side, and you want to kind of go and earn a really good living, that's great, and you can go and do that no problem. But property is no different to being a footballer or anything. If you want to play at the absolute top, you've got to be super competitive. But I think it all comes down to USPs. So listen, property is not a difficult industry, genuinely. Like I don't have, well, I've barely got a GCSE. I've got no A-level or degree. I've never done a business course. I've never done an MBA. I've never done anything other than kind of run my own business and work in the industry. So in order to succeed in property, I feel like you've just got to do the simple things really, really well. So you've obviously got to have an entrepreneurial spirit. We've spoken about having a USP. Like, that's really important. Your network is critical.
Definitely.
Genuinely.
People's business.
It's a people business. And people, listen, your generation, I don't mean this in a negative way, but your generation are so accustomed to technology that I feel that a lot of your generation have lost the ability to actually hold a proper conversation. I've got young kids, and they can communicate through Snapchat, but you put them in a room together, it's like, how do we do this? So I feel like for your generation, and again, the audience probably watching this, people skills are really, really important. I got nothing out of school from an educational standpoint, but what I got out of school was communication skills. So you can put me in front of anyone from any age, any walk of life, and I'll be able to hold that conversation. So as I said, entrepreneurial spirit, a USP, which we've discussed, people skills and the network. Like, do not underestimate it.
Yeah.
Right. And then fundamentally, like, I'm not that smart. Genuinely, I'm not that smart. Now, you're staggered by that. But I work harder than everyone else. And I don't say that arrogantly. I say that like proudly.
Actually, you do. Yeah.
I genuinely work harder than everyone else. And listen, I get into the office at 6 o'clock every day. Now people say to me, why have you done that? You've built a business, sold a business. You've got probably one of the top leading niche businesses in the whole of the UK at the moment. Why are you driving yourself mad when you try and enjoy yourself? That's not who I am. But my view is, if I'm in at 6 and everyone else is in at 8, that's 2 hours a day. It's 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's 500 hours a year. And with what I do, but also most things in property, especially on what I do, the agency side, the commodity you're trading is time. So if I've got 500 hours a year more than my competitor, like, pretty obvious.
Would you say it's an addiction?
I'm actually not addicted to money, right? People think I'm addicted to, listen, it's probably a combination of things. I like earning money, obviously. I don't work as hard as I do to earn no money.
Yeah.
There's ego, there's ambition. I would say I am probably obsessed with what I do,
Good.
I love what I do. I love what I do.
In order to be the best, you've got to...
But don't get me wrong, there are days I hate it, right? So if everyone thinks out there, because everyone thinks, oh, it's walking the park, you love what you do, in your career, that's just not reality. Like, there are days where I'm like, I'm just going to get a job somewhere. Like, enough of the chaos. But I always I love what I do. I love running my own business. Property it's a unique industry, right? Genuinely, you end up doing business with your mates. I mean, some of my best friends in the world, I didn't go to school with, or I didn't grow up with. I've created these relationships through people coming or doing deals with people in the industry, creating relationships. I mean, Charlie, who you met
a couple of weeks ago,
Project Daisy, he's like one of my best mates, and I met him through real estate.
If you were my age, what would you be doing?
Good question. It's a good, listen, property is really diverse. Now, I am completely biased in this situation, but for me, the brokerage side, it doesn't get better. And I'm going to give you a reason, okay? So up until between 2012 and 2020, we had the bull market. 8 years of just unbelievable property world, right? Prices were going up, supply was coming down, everyone was kind of making hay and the sun was shining, genuinely. I did deals for clients where I was buying them a building in January for £8 million, and by December I was selling it for £15 million, right? Okay. And for years I kind of looked at it being like, am I doing something wrong here? Like, I've just made my client like 5, 6, 7, £8 million, and I've earned a fee which is a fraction of what they've earned. And I'm sitting there being like, am I in the wrong game? COVID changed it for me. So for me, I've got a lot of clients who made a lot of money in the good times. And when the market turns, they've kind of lost everything, right? And it's heartbreaking. It's really sad to see. These are guys that I thought were untouchable. Genuinely untouchable. Not just individuals, but businesses, untouchables. And then I look back and I was like, what I've managed to do, yes, we've had some dips, but there's been a consistency to it. So even when COVID happened and no one was taking offices, we were still renting office space, right? I've got clients who stopped buying and selling buildings in March 2020. They haven't done anything since. Literally have not bought or sold a building since then, whereas for us, there's been a consistency to it. So everyone gets kind of the glitz of, oh, I want to be the big bad landlord. I want to buy buildings, own buildings, and that's great. And don't get me wrong, yes, but I feel that side of the market is much harder to make a lot of money in these days. Values don't change the way they've historically changed. B, go back to your point before, there's a lot more competition in that market, especially from overseas money, which makes it really difficult for kind of more UK businesses to execute. But for me, the agency side, A, you can earn incredibly well from it, and B, there is a consistency to it that you don't necessarily have on the landlord, on the kind of investor developer side.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, like I would one day like to be more of an investor or a developer and kind of have my finger in those pies. But I don't think I'll ever not be an agent, because I just feel that you can make good money.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can make a lot of money, and there's a consistency to it without risking everything on it.
Yeah. Would you say you took many risks with Compton and Hatton?
Loads. So
what are they? What's some of the biggest risks?
Well, when I set up Hatton Real Estate, I had no money. Genuinely had no money. I was paying my mortgage on my credit card. I was pawning jewelry on Hatton Garden to like pay my bills. I bought a house I couldn't afford just before I set it up.
Okay.
We borrowed money to do it. So there was a lot of risk with that one. If anything, actually, at the time I was 27.
Right.
I wasn't married. I didn't have kids. I had responsibility, but not extreme.
Yeah.
So whilst that was risky, it was a calculated risk. I was quite young.
Yeah.
The risk I took with Compton was slightly different. So when we took, I won't bore you with the detail, but effectively the deal we did with Colliers, we picked up our team, took them out of Colliers and dropped them into Compton.
Right.
This was in the middle of the pandemic. And even though we were doing business, we were still operating at a bit of a loss because it just wasn't as fruitful as it was because everyone was at home.
Yeah.
And we took on the burden of taking 15 people from Colliers into a new business with basically a loss-making revenue in a lockdown. So that was probably quite high risk, given that I was married, loads of responsibility, kids, so on and so forth. But we risk all the time. Like, I don't know if you've seen some of the videos we put out. These are not like 500 quid videos.
I saw
these cost thousands, right? The amount of money we spend on marketing, I mean, we're in 7 figures.
Yeah.
So we throw a lot of mud at the wall. We always back. If we're not going to back ourselves, who's going to back us? Who's going to believe in us? So for us, it's about back ourselves to the hill all the time. Throw money at situations. Try things. If they fail, try them again. We are quite risk on.
Good. And that's quite interesting because I spoke to some people before and they say they're not very risk taking. Like Ollie, when I spoke to him, he said he didn't take many risks.
Yeah, but I would. If Ollie, if you're watching, I would disagree. So Ollie, when Ollie started, he took risks, right? To buy his first building, he took risks. When Ollie and Charlie did their deal with Lloyd Dorfman, right, to kind of sell some of their business, that's a risk, right? They had 100% control. They had lots of control and gave some. They've taken lots of risks. He's probably being a bit not. He's probably, whether he's forgotten or not, but everyone is he definitely took risks.
Yeah,
definitely.
Just going back to post-COVID.
Yes.
How's the market sort of came back from that? Are you seeing?
The market's difficult, right? And it's not just COVID, it's all the things that COVID created: hyperinflation, bill costs, cost of capital. COVID created a kind of a concoction of chaos that we are now living through at the moment. What I would say is that it's taken a lot longer to recover than we would have hoped. The recovery is still on, but we're now on that trajectory on the way up.
Good.
So I would say for your cohort, it's a really interesting time to be coming into the industry. So for example, we typically only really recruit young people here. We very rarely make senior hires because our theory is if we get people in at the bottom who are young and talented, we build them up and they can grow within the business, which is kind of the model we've always done. And I've got people in this business, they've never seen a good market. Right? They've only lived through the bad times. But what I think is interesting for your peer group, who are obviously you're finishing?
I'm second year university, so
you're going to be coming into the industry, not when it's recovered, but on that journey up. So I think for your generation, your year group, or maybe the one above you and the year below you, it's a very interesting moment for you to come into the real estate game.
Are you seeing more competitors rising?
Yeah, we are. But competition is not a bad thing. Like competition is what gets me out of bed in the morning. The minute you become scared of competition, you're screwed. Like the minute you're scared of competition, you're just accepting mediocrity. Like competition should fuel you. That's what it does for me anyway.
For the people that may not know, in simple terms, what you do.
I literally, so I'm a commercial estate agent.
Commercial estate
So
agent.
you own a house.
Yeah.
You call an estate agent. I want to sell it or rent it.
Yeah.
I do that for office space.
Fine.
Effectively.
Fine.
Commercial is just a different industry to residential.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people's businesses,
Yeah.
not their personal life. I don't want to know about all the chaos, because when you're selling someone's home, it tends to be quite personal.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with someone's business, it's a much more business orientated relationship with business decisions being made.
Yeah.
Also, if you're selling a house in Clapham as a top residential estate agent, that house, it might go up and down in value, but in line with inflation. The beauty of commercial is there's no real cap on what you can do.
Right.
We can do portfolios, or it's just so much scale to what we do that you're never really capped in what you can do and how much money you can earn.
Right.
Which is why you may have heard when I spoke at the Project Daisy thing, a lot of my mates at the beginning of their career, they went into residential.
Yes.
Only two of us went into commercial. There were about 13 of us in total. I think 11 went into residential, 2 into commercial.
Right.
The guys who went into residential, they earned way more than us.
Yeah.
It was, if not, in some cases, double, if not triple. Genuinely, it was like nuts. They were all driving around in BMWs and Mercedes and Range Rovers. And me and my mate were kind of sitting there driving Fiat Puntos. It was a different world. But as time's progressed, we've just kind of completely overtaken.
So you say your friend, what do they do? Are they in Compton, or have they got their own company?
The one who
went down the commercial.
He was my business partner at Atre Real Estate.
Okay.
So we kind of went on that journey together.
Oh, okay.
And that was where, and that clip's done the rounds a bit, like the don't chase the money.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely, it's such good advice, because I've seen so many people chase the money.
Yeah.
I've got family members who did it. I've got close friends who did it. People in the industry I know who did it. And I know it's easy for me to say, but it's never always been easy for me to say, but I've always been true to it. I never chased it. I was offered jobs throughout my career that paid me a lot more than what I was earning at the prevailing time.
Right.
But I turned them down because it wasn't part of the journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't the journey I wanted to go on. So yeah, for an extra 10 or 15%, which at the time felt meaningful, especially when you're like trying to make ends meet and trying to get on the property ladder or have a family. Like, it's really hard to turn things down.
Yeah.
But the minute you start chasing the money, I'm not saying in all cases, because in some cases you chase the money, it can end up being a great story.
Yeah.
But in most cases, if you chase the money, you're going to end up making a mistake.
So how can a student sort of improve their personal brand? Because obviously the market's such a difficult time. You know, you see students who come out of university with a first-class degree, but they can't get a job.
Totally.
So what would you say can improve their personal brand, which can help get people employed?
So as an employer of typically young talent, who gets a lot of emails from people, internships, job placements, work experience, they always send me their CV. I open it, I never really read it.
Yeah.
The first thing I'll do is I'll copy their name, I'll stick it into LinkedIn, and I'll try and see what they're all about.
Right.
So one of the big changes between Hatton and Compton was the personal brand that we tried to create within the team here, because as we said before, property is a people business.
Yeah.
Right? I've worked in the last 15 years, I've worked for 4 different businesses, or 4 different kind of names. I've never lost a client, because the client always follows me. So the biggest advice I can give to anyone in the property industry today coming into it is create a personal brand. You have to. Like, you absolutely have to, because your future employer, your future client, your future colleagues, they're all going to look at it.
Yeah.
And don't be scared of it. Like, everyone always says, well, what do I talk about? What do you want?
Yeah.
What interests you? Talk about architecture.
Yeah.
Talk about something real estate focused that interests you. Create a debate, right? Right. Now, where I've learned on my journey through creating a personal brand on LinkedIn in particular is don't try and please everyone. In fact, I don't say go out of my way not to please everyone, but I'm unapologetic in my views. So if I believe in something, I'll say it. If I'm going to piss people off, so be it. If I'm going to make people angry, so be it. Because for all the people I'm going to make angry or piss off, chances are there's going to be at least as many, if not more people who are agreeing with my position. Right. Personal brand, for your cohort and your generation coming into the game, It's what it's all about. In 10 years' time, right, I'm going to be 52.
Right.
I won't be redundant because I'm not going to let myself be redundant. But I'm telling you, there is an opportunity for your generation to take what we've done, which is try and make property marketed better, try and make it more approachable. But what you do is you can take what we've done and level it up and some. I mean, I said to you this what we're doing here, this is genius.
Thank you.
Genuinely genius. I gave you props before you kind of came in here, but just whilst on camera. Like, I think this platform has got so much scope. You may not even need to go to property to have a living, because I feel that trying to make real estate more digestible, these sorts of conversations, especially for the next generation, I think are incredible. And I just feel that these opportunities would have presented themselves even 5 years ago, let alone 10, 15 years ago. So I just feel like your generation, your years, and the few above you, few below you, you've got an industry to build on what's already been done. This is not the level. This is like the starting, this should be the starting line for you. And this is where you should progress on from there. You are part of that generation. I'm somewhere fixed. I'm kind of stuck between your generation and the generation, the older one. I'm kind of like, I'm in a sweet spot, to be fair to me, because I can still communicate with the old guard, but I can still also communicate with the new guys. Where you're unique is you're coming into something where we totally get you from my generation, and your generation are the ones who hopefully are going to take it to the next level.
So you say the next level, AI?
Listen, I love AI. Okay, for me, I said before, like, time is my commodity. It's the thing that I trade. For me, AI has made me much quicker. Like, just simple tasks. I don't use it to do my work, because I would never say to ChatGPT, please write me a report for this building in this location, put it on Compton branding and send it to me. I would never do that, because for me, again, property is people business. My voice, my opinion is hopefully what people want and what they're paying for. They don't want some AI platform to do that. So how I use AI as an example is, I will, in notes on my iPhone, I will dictate the report, because I speak better than I type. So I'm like, dear Joe Blogs, this is what I think, this is what I think it. I will just ask ChatGPT to keep the tone of voice, just fix the grammar, fix the spelling, and make it look neat. Right, the thing that used to take me an hour and a half to tidy it all up, it's done within a minute. But it's all my words, it's all my content. So I don't think AI can't replace what I do. It can't. I am a deal maker, right? So yes, I take buildings on and I market them, but there's still an element of deal making that needs to happen. Like, the whole business, a big proportion of what we do, and we look at it, right? There's a lot of deals we do that you don't need an agent, right? Technically called the landlord and probably done it themselves, but the vast majority of the deals we do in this business would not happen if we weren't around.
So I was speaking to someone at Project Daisy a couple of weeks ago, and they mentioned the use of CGI in sort of, you said you took professional photos at Hatton, and that's what put you aside from everyone else. You took lots of pictures and you were very in detail. CGI can now go inside a building and it can put a layout.
Totally.
Is that something that you might be looking at for the future?
CGI, we've been using CGIs for over 10 years.
Oh, right. Okay.
All AI does is it just makes the process quicker and cheaper. But we've been using them for years. I mean, for 15 years probably.
Oh, really?
So it's not a new thing.
Right.
It's just there are lots of industries that are gonna succumb to AI. There's going to be lots of people will lose their jobs. Definitely, there will be lots of gaps in the world where AI has replaced them. I don't believe real estate is one. I genuinely don't. I'm not saying that from a position of protection, because I think if you start to get into that game, you're hiding to nothing. But I just feel that property is still a people business. It's people at its core. Yes, there will be AI that will help you with modelling and cash flows and this process and that process, but fundamentally, it's still to come down to a people business. It's still going to come down to deal making. And I think that's where, again, I feel that, I'm not saying you or people, but there's lots of people in your generation who have kind of forgotten the art of that because they're so obsessed with the technology side, they've lost that people skill.
Yeah.
So I feel there's just I think your generation just need to make sure they don't lose that.
Yeah, definitely. So with Compton, and potentially the industry as a whole at the moment, would you say that there are any gaps that need to be filled? If so, are you trying to fill them?
It's a good question. I think from a brokerage standpoint, the agency day-to-day, I don't think there is necessarily a gap to be filled. I think there are ways of doing things better.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is if there was a gap to exploit, I'll probably
you'd be doing it now.
Probably, maybe, I'd like to think so. But I just think it's about, listen, we are in a service industry.
Yeah.
Well, I am anyway. So there's always ways to improve. I think we are exploring how AI can help us. We're looking at Compton AI. We're looking to try and find a way of being able to report more robustly to our clients with market. We've got a huge amount of data in this business.
Yeah.
We're trying to find ways of bringing all that data together to give our clients a better insight other people can't get the same market share that we've done. So I just think it's little incremental bits. Changes. I don't think there's anything significant that's going to totally change the game.
Right. Just to finish off this talk, firstly, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a great talk.
And by the way, I want to be invited back when you're like this big shot, like podcaster, like doing the whole younger generation of real estate globally, because that is where this could go.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
hopefully,
I look forward to my invite back.
What would you say is your one piece of advice that you'd give to students like myself who are trying to break into this industry and get themselves sort of known?
I've got 3. Can I have 3?
Of course you can.
So personal brand, which we've discussed.
Right.
Like, do not underestimate the strength of personal brand. It is fundamental.
Yeah.
2, efficiency.
Okay.
Like, genuinely, as I said, time is your commodity. Don't waste it. Right. Make things efficient. Be efficient. And then the third one is, and it's really 2, but I'm going to club it as 1. It's work incredibly hard and be incredibly honest.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like basic business advice, but I promise you, like, as I said, I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm always honest in our dealings at work. Even if I don't agree with something, I'll call it out.
Yeah.
I'm always honest. And I do believe I work harder than everyone else. I think if you can do those things, you're setting yourself up for a good career.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Shaun.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.